Good morning. It is 6:52 a.m. on Monday, July 29th, 2019. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, more of my weekend ended up just being binge watching Netflix, and, well, not only Netflix, but streaming television in general. Um, than I had kind of originally planned. I mean, I had a migraine yesterday, which seems to be better, which is good. But I kind of just ended up being a little bit lazy. I had hoped to accomplish a bit more, get out to the gym, but kind of didn't. But I was kind of watching some TV and also playing through some old Mario games. Playing Super Mario Maker 2 has just got me in a Mario mood, and so I was playing through some of the classic games while taking advantage of some of the modern ways to play those games, whether like on the Nintendo Switch or using like the NES or SNES Classic. You can have these like save states anywhere you want them, and so mostly what that allows you to do is not use up your lives. So like if you have a later game level that's pretty hard and you're dying on it a lot, and ordinarily if you're playing it on the original way, you'd run out of lives and have to reset some progress. You don't have to do that with this one because you can just basically, reload the save point every time you fail at a level so you don't lose your number of lives. And obviously that makes it significantly easier, but you do still have to actually beat each level. It's just, it's an assist. And so was playing through, I played I've played through Super Mario 3 and Super Mario 2, and now got into Super Mario World a little bit. And so I was sort of doing that with some of the TV shows on. But as I said in the little title here, after reviewing just the first episode of The Boys, I've now watched the whole first season of it, and it's interesting because the show really turned in some different ways than I expected. I thought that it was likely to be a much more sort of schlocky, all of the supers are obvious bad guys, and they need to be taken down, and we're on the side of the boys as they're going to put together this team. And I thought that the episodic nature of it was going to be essentially like, sort of monster of the week type of thing, where like they have to figure out how to take down the next hero of the seven, and they're going to work their way through. And I thought it was going to be sort of a much simpler subversion, but not morally gray, right? Like the people they're trying to take down are definitely bad, and there's no good or bad about it, except that people don't understand or something like that. And but it turns out that the overall thing is actually a lot more nuanced than I expected, both examining the humanity beyond the so like even with the bad superheroes, it does occasionally try to humanize them and even make us sympathize with them at points. And simultaneously, it definitely makes our good guys who are trying to take down the heroes, it examines their behavior in a much more complex way than I sort of expected. And that makes it sort of less obvious just dark comedy, and more, there's more dramatic element kind of than I expected. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's good, but I don't know. I kind of was expecting it to be a little bit more like a one and done story, whereas this definitely feels like it's going to have the thing that a lot of streaming shows do, which feels like there's a lot of running in place to keep the story from advancing to the point where you lose some of your main actors. But I don't know. It's okay. I liked it fine. It does some really interesting things. It just some of them weren't the ones that I expected. Anyway, also I watched. I knew that the last season of Orange is the New Black had come out, but then when I went to put it on, I realized I'd actually missed a season. I had not ever gotten around to watching season 6, and then forgot that I hadn't, and so I actually had 2 seasons to get through. So I did actually get through season 6, um, and into one episode of the new season. And I'm not going to talk too much about like the plot of it, except to just say that I think a lot of the plots of that show do continue to be kind of ridiculous, but you continue to follow the characters you care about, and your heart aches for the injustices that they have to endure. And I think one of the things that the show often does very well is really highlight it's the whole idea of like the banality of evil. You know what I mean? Like, you have these guard characters and sometimes the prisoner characters too, who in some moments will be, very human and recognizable, and even often pretty bland characters in many regards, except for the way that they will also indulge in casual cruelty and abuse of power in their positions as guards. And at one point, one of the in the last season. Rather, in season 6, one of the guard leaders basically spells it out at one point, which is, yes, we set the prisoners up to fight with each other. And we do it because that keeps them from fighting us. Ugh. And it's just weird because it's such an interesting dynamic, because you have these characters doing clearly morally reprehensible things and yet also be human and even sympathetic in other moments. And I think that part of what's happening there is that while it doesn't excuse their behavior, part of what the show is doing, I think, is it's recognizing that it's really the whole system that is set up to produce these behaviors, both in the guards and the prisoners. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there because I got to get ready for work, but I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.